course, the results are disappointing, but the performance of the boys this evening.
Yeah, the performance was good. It's just I had to say to the boys in the changing room at half time, we've totally dominated that game, and the only people that can lose this game now is us. We can give them the game away, and I thought that's what we did. We contributed to such a possession game of football. It was good to see, but I always said, listen, that I don't think they're going to win the game from us. I think if anything, they're going to take the game away. And we did, and I just had to say, look, we've got to take responsibility for that, because it's just, you can't dominate a game so much and then lose, be on the losing team.
You've been with us since the Gold Cup. Has it been down to not putting away the chances? Would you put that down to the reason why we are?
Yes, today, yeah, 100%. I mean, we've got to score goals. We've had possession, we've had chances to score goals today, and just not had the final pass. That's what I said to them at half time. Find the final pass. It's really key. Take care. And then we find ourselves chasing a game of football that we should have put out of sight in the first half. So, yeah, it's frustrating. There were some pluses to come out of these performances tonight, if I can find some. The lads kept the ball well. They moved it well. I wanted them to move it a little bit quicker at times, but there were some pluses, and we've got to take that forward and move forward.
What were some of the encouraging things that you told the players at full time? Because of course they'll be disappointing. Nations League, Gold Cup on the horizon, of course.
Yeah. Like I said, we've been at 3 games from promising positions, and we've just got to get our resilience a little bit stronger. We've probably got to be fitter as a team, all around, and we've got to make sure that we put things away. It's just like you've got Costa Rica on the ropes tonight, and we 1-0 up against Mexico. And then you're 1-0 up against Panama, in Panama. And as a group, I had to ask, are we good enough as a group? And I had to say, look, let's question ourselves and look at all of our performances, me included, because we cannot be in winning positions and then conspire to lose the game. I mean, if you score 1 goal away from home, you should at least not lose the game. And 8 minutes away from Mexico, we find a way, and then against Costa Rica we find a way, so it's tough.
Performances like Richard King this evening, does that give you optimism for the future?
100%. I totally trust that kid, because we played in what was it? Peru, and he was outstanding for me in that game, and as were a lot of the other youngsters, and he was outstanding. And tonight he was outstanding again. I thought he just fit in really well. He made a claim for playing the way how I want to play, and he hasn't hurt himself tonight, and I really look forward to working with him in the future.
Are you going to see more of these Englishmen back?
Well, it all depends. I mean, we've got to look at what the last few months, and we've got to reevaluate. We've got to evaluate. We've got to restructure. We've got to rebuild. And for me, I think that you only can be part of it if you are adding value to what Jamaica are. That's it. You've got to add value. You've got to rebuild. And yes, you may see some, but there's also Jamaican players who played with me in Peru who will add value to what we are trying to build. And we've got to follow the example of America, Canada. They've built some really good squads there with some really good players, sprinkling of older players and a lot of youth, and that are open to new things. So listen, that's the answer to your question.
A disappointed end, though. Basically.
Yeah.
Must be disappointing to you.
Yeah, disappointing, because, like I said to you, I get sick of being in promising positions and then losing the game. It's just not good enough. Us as a group have to question ourselves, and I didn't say too much in the changing room because tempers can fly. You've got to reflect on everything. But you also got to ask us. I just left them with a question: are we good enough as a group? Did we perform enough as a group? Did we answer all the questions that were posed of us? And we probably didn't. And I need them to be honest with themselves, as well as me being honest with myself, and everybody being honest with themselves. So, yeah.
What technically do you think we went wrong in this campaign, from your perspective?
Like I said, it's tough to say now. I've got to reflect on the whole thing. We've got to look at everything that happened. even from way back in the Gold Cup, and understand where we went, what went well, because we've had some really good things come out of this campaign. We've had some really good things come out of tonight's game. Richard King being one of them. Greg Lee playing really well, even though we got found out for the goal, the penalty. However, listen, if you look at the young players that we've got, the future is quite bright, and it's about getting them programs and getting them a structured program for them to be able to grow.
What's your future, coach?
My future?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's here. You know, I'm a Jamaican, and we want to make sure that we build a future. The American coach has done it, right? And they're a fantastic football team. The John Herdman, he's done it at Canada, and they're a fantastic football team. So I'm no different. That's what I want to do. I want to build a team of young Jamaicans, you know. And I remember that back in '97, when we first started our results changing, we had lots of Jamaicans, and there was just 3 of us come in and was sprinkling to add value to what we had. So, you know, that's kind of my persuasion.
Any ideas towards that? You mentioned developing some youth. Do you have any specific ideas?
Well, if you look at, I think if you just look at the first half, you know, of Peru, and then you look at Richard King's performance tonight, that's twice he's done that for me now. Yeah, I would be a fool to ignore that, and he's proved himself. And I think he probably needs to get stronger. He probably needs to be tested overseas, maybe, but he also needs a program for myself to be able to grow and pure contact. But as Mr. Downswell, the technical director, we've followed up all of those young players and given them programs with the Premier League teams and just not ignored them because they're not with us. But if I'm being honest with you, I could have called up any one of those guys to be in this squad, which is, it makes me a little bit happier as I'm talking to you.
The system that you used in the final game here tonight,
I'm happy about that.
Would it be the system going forward?
I just think it told us a lot about ourselves. You know, we found out a lot about ourselves. I found out a lot about individuals in the you know, us as a group. But 3 at the back really suited us. I don't think Costa Rica expected it, and I don't think they knew how to deal with it. Our players did, and you know, historically, Jamaica have always done well with a 3 at the back. Cool. I'm not saying that it will always help us dominate, but I think it's something that we found out about ourselves tonight.
Well, 3 games ago, coach, you know, what can we expect from you, and can we expect, you know, the same team, or, you know, this Englishman coming back?
Well, you know, I want to see the players develop. That's what you can expect. I'm a developer by heart, and I want these young players to come through and make it difficult for me to be able to call anybody else. You know, these young players, why shouldn't we have young players who come through and fill the boots of the older ones? It's really important. And I mean, like I said, when I go back to the Peru game, these guys were class in the first half, you know, and there's a few on there tonight, and it's about getting them and helping them grow and helping them become more confident and getting them to understand, you know, it's a style of play that we want.
So can we see a lot of young players for those 3 games?
Which 3 games?
The last 3 games. The last 3
games. Well, maybe. I mean, we can. You know, we have to. Like I said to you, it's a bit soon to be. You know, the wound from tonight is just really sore. Losing a game like that, I think that's probably been the hardest game for me to take in terms of losing. But we've got to move forward, and we've got to look forward and see what our options are, and just reflect.
You mentioned Richard King. Have any other names of some young players you're interested in?
You could take your pick from the Peru bunch. You know, I think we all. Yeah. Listen, like I said to you before, that week was probably the best week I've spent. It was constant with the players. I constantly hammered in the principles of what was to be expected, and I think you really did see it. And if it wasn't for fitness, you know, you're going to get a bunch of kids really taking it to a team that's probably going to qualify for the World Cup from South America, and you realise the size of the job that they did. So yeah, you know, there are other names, but it would be unfair to just pick 1 or 2 out. But because Richard played tonight and he played so well, that's definitely one
In
of them.
hindsight, coach, do you have any regrets about team selection, formation, anything that you'd have done over the last 3 games?
There's always something you could have done better. Good question. Always something you could have done better, and when you reflect, you'll always think, oh, maybe I could have done that a little bit sooner, or I could have played that shape. I think the fact that we played so well in the shape tonight, maybe we could have done something at some point, but I've always thought that the planning was good. And when you go 1-0 up against Mexico, right, and when you go 1-0 up against Panama, there is something in there that we did right, and we did right tonight. There was, we were in a strong position, and then that's something that we have to work on, So yes, there are things that I could have done, but I think that's a question for everybody, for the players, for the staff, and we just got to be honest with ourselves.
All right, coach. Thanks, coach.
You're welcome.